because I don't understand it anyway, so.
Stop, you will understand. That's the point of today.
I'm just giving Matt a hard time. She's been working hard on this forever. Hey, 2 meetings in a row.
I know.
Look at us
2
go.
meetings are over, I have to leave early.
Well, we'll talk. We might have to make that sooner.
I'm working on being the old, heavy, core version of yourself.
All right, I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. It's a regular meeting of the Lodging Tax Advisory Board. It is Thursday, December 12th at 2 p.m. Can we get a roll call, please?
Absolutely. Jason Decker.
Here.
Joe.
Here.
Amanda. Here. Chris.
Here.
And Ashley.
Here.
All present.
Thank you. So, first up on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. I did give you guys a copy if you want to have a look. Anything on there that looks weird or needs to be changed?
Looks good to me.
Awesome. I'll take a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second it. Oh, wait.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor of approval of the agenda say aye.
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 All right. Also in your packet is a copy of the meeting minutes from last time. We have approval of the minutes next up. If you want to take a look at those.
Does she go by Crystal Frank sometimes and Crystal Russell?
Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
Yes, but is there like one versus the other?
Just one, no.
Either. Nice.
Motion to approve the minutes from
Second.
the 5th.
All in favor of approval of the minutes?
Aye.
Say aye. Aye. All right. First up is usually DIQ, but Lindsay is not here yet, so we're gonna have to skip a couple of things there. Do we want to talk about the renewal of DIQ, or do we want to wait for Lindsay?
Always surprise her.
Budget revision. Do you know if Miss Cheryl is coming?
I just sent a text to see if she did confirm yesterday that she was going to be able to be here today.
All right. So let's wait on that till she gets here. Winterfest Projection Fest. Now this was in Joe's email to me about the agenda for this meeting. I thought the last time we discussed it, we took Winterfest off of our budgeting because it wasn't going to be happening this year. Has something changed? Because I missed the last meeting.
Yeah, it must have just come up during that meeting. Let me see. That was
The Projection Fest was separate from Winterfest, and I think they had already planned on having it this year. Or 2025.
They be in the city.
Yeah.
I did. Somebody asked me to look into that, and I did, and it was a no because it was like kind of a package thing with Winterfest. So the Projection Fest is not happening either.
All right. Well, as I guess as part of that, since we do give in our budget a budget for Main Street Board, I would imagine, I know that Krista was saying she wanted to put together some winter activities.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that that's a good step toward having something going on in the winter, and it's good to let them see what they can do with what they're given.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really think we need the Winterfest or Projection Fest at this time. Maybe see what happens, see if they come back to us with a need.
Yeah, I mean, obviously somebody has to be in charge of planning and directing it. We were talking about this a little bit last week. I love the idea of doing a Christmas/winter/holiday market next year, probably around this time. But obviously too late for that right now. I feel like it would not be a huge lift to pull off a one-day winter festival. I did see somebody on Chatter posting about in response to someone looking for craft fairs, they were like, "Oh, isn't the Cold Fest coming up?" So some people remember that it happened and might have it in their minds. But yeah, somebody has to direct it, and
Yes.
I cannot raise my hand for that for sure. So that's probably the biggest X factor. We have the money to pull together something low scale.
Can Main Street, can they make money? Can they do things to make money, or? is it
I believe
not?
so. Like
Maybe-
revenue, generate revenue.
Maybe we could just hint to them, like, combine the
Yep.
lights in the evening, the Light Fest, with an all-day market at Space to Create or something, just. what
I
they
can bring it up at our next meeting. Oh, our next meeting isn't until January.
Yeah, last year
I think it's a little too late for this year to pull something quality of.
Yeah.
I think that's my gut reaction of what they'll say, but definitely pulling resources together for the following year.
Or maybe a spring fling.
Yeah, I think it was first weekend in February last year. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
Which
Because we
give
tried
them
to
only
make it
a month.
align
Yeah.
with the Breckenridge Festival and the Alamosa Festival. 1 week later.
Well, it sounds like that one is not something we need to vote on for sure. So we're good on that. Anything else about this Winterfest Projection Fest that you want to discuss? No? All right. Review the goals and updates documents. Joe, do you have something for us for that?
No, sorry, didn't pull that together.
No? That's fine.
We'll just punt it to the next meeting, I guess. I will still try and get you something, Victoria, before.
Veronica,
I'm sorry.
Victoria,
That's the
but
second
then I'll
time.
meet with
We got
Victoria.
the V right.
I'm sorry about that.
It's
the
okay.
second time I've done it. Yeah, I'll still get you something ahead of our next meeting.
Okay,
I
perfect.
just didn't have time.
Just call her V, then they get it all.
Sorry, guys. I have a little bit of a work. Let's see. All right. We will put that back on the next agenda. New business, tourism manager discussion. That was a request.
Yeah,
What's up?
So a while back, while Steve was still here, there was like an email that went out to all of us, and it said there were some staff changes and some things that were going to change moving forward. And then there was a discussion that he came and sat in person. It might be in a minute somewhere, where it basically was saying that Marty was going to transition out of the tourism manager role. The new role that was hired that Margie used to have, I'm trying to remember the name of that, said it was going to be like a combined role for tourism manager. I don't think that happened after he left, but basically he was saying that we were going to bring in someone with, you know, more qualifications and things like that, the one thing, and then Marty would just do the welcome center, like what she was brought in to do, and find someone with a better skill set. I just wanted to see what's going on with that, because we now have budget for this person, and I think we need this person. And also there was the part-time role that we had discussed before to do some of this marketing type stuff. I think it could all be the same role. You know, we now have budget to fill this, since our budget's, you know, nearly doubled. So I think we could fill that. They could also grow into a position where they could take some of this off DIQ's plate. Like, we paid like $45,000 for social media, and that could definitely fall under this person, or part of it. And they could also do stuff in addition to it. Events like this that we want to have and there's no one to lead them, have that, to bring conferences in town, all the stuff that a tourism manager should do, you know, and I think we should discuss that and possibly recommend it to council. So just wanted
Yeah,
to.
put it in writing, real nice, precise, I agree,
And,
100%.
yeah.
Yeah,
What
because
their
yeah,
duties
last
would
year it
be.
got shut down, the part-time role. They said, well, we don't have budget. Like, if it passes, well, it passed, and we have budget. So I think that's the most important role really growing tourism, because there's only so much that we can do up here.
Yep, all we can do is approve stuff and recommend stuff. We can't put it on somebody to get something done, right?
Yeah, but just a true staff person that's fully focused on growing the tourism market. And we have a line item of budget in there for that, so I don't know the exact amount, but it should be enough to hire a strong person.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Victoria? What is
That's Veronica.
V?
That's Veronica.
I'm sorry.
Okay,
How
well,
many hats do you wear?
a lot.
A lot.
Yes.
That doesn't answer the
So
question.
Veronica was hired to replace Margie Farindelli, so she has all the roles that Margie was filling, which is quite a bit. The tourism manager remains Marty Hackett, and will remain Marty Hackett. This board does not have the power to change that, nor should we discuss job performance.
No.
We're not managers of the city staff. So I'm not sure what can we request a new position to interact with marketing and do that extra stuff that you said, and possibly ask them to consider them taking on an additional role with tourism? I'm not sure that we can formally do that. I will definitely be asking, and if there is a procedure that they need to follow, but we
have in the
cannot make
past,
decisions.
so, right, I understand that,
About-
that's why it's
yeah.
a recommendation and a discussion, and we just have budget now that's specifically for salaries around this. And I think there's some kind of role in there that could be, determined at a later date off of needs, but something just to continue to push forward tourism and to have someone everyone anywhere near that department wears a lot of hats, so I think it could give them some relief.
I also would like to keep in mind that the finances of everyone right now is really stretched, the city as well, and I don't know that they'll be open to doing a new position with things the way they are now.
But we won't know until we ask.
Right.
That's what
So,
that budget should be used for, so I think we should try to use it for that. Or they're gonna use it for something else without our discretion.
Not to talk about or evaluate individuals, but it seems to me that the person that is considered the tourism manager and whatever and deals with DIQ should deal with us, since we are responsible for DIQ. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it would be like a liaison. I mean, I support what Jason is saying. I don't think this is an indictment for anybody. It's not
No.
a review, anything. I think there needs to be some role that can help tie together all these.
That's all I'm saying.
What is your
I'm not making
perspective on
an
it?
attack or anything on
Right.
anyone. I'm saying there's budget for a role like this. We'd recommended something before. The new launch
Is
tax
there-
passed. And
Is there a budget? That's what I'm wondering. We're about to go kind of look at those revisions here today anyway.
but it could also reduce future scope,
Right.
which will end up saving money, because what we're paying for social media is a lot.
Mhm. That's where I was going to kind of hone in on is like, so if we're pulling this from somewhere, like, we only have the 20% for personnel and expenses. I'm assuming that is already earmarked for specific.
Well, it doubled, so there should be more
do have
available,
copy.
right?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Do you know, Ashley?
I don't have
That is the visitor and welcome center staff.
Right. Is that an
That's the
increase,
budget.
or do we keep that flat?
That was increased by, it's 20% of the total.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
So we don't know how that divides up.
Not specifically. I mean, there's information out there on that, it's various salaries and, but it's not all of it, or it wasn't last year. So
Right,
we put it apart, and then the rest comes from general fund.
Yeah, we supplement.
I don't know if this new amount is gonna change that, or if it just, I don't know.
Because this, I don't know the exact number of what it was last year. Maybe Cheryl could help us with that.
Sure.
I think it was
Half
more.
of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Or less than half of that because that was projected for next year.
I'm not sure what the question is.
Perfect entrance, perfect timing.
So we are talking about the possibility of recommending that the city look at some type of marketing role. And so we have our 20% of the lodging fund allocated towards personnel and expenses related to tourism, including the Welcome Center. That forthcoming budget, 2025, is set at $148,000. So we're assuming that is approximately double what we had in that line last year. So the question is, how much of that, is that covering our existing personnel who are related to tourism? Because last year, our understanding is it was really just supplementary, where the remaining was coming from the general fund.
Okay, so this year the general fund won't be transferring money into tourism because of the increase. It's going to be able to cover the Welcome Center operations and the trolley personnel. So that total for Welcome Center operations is $93,401. The trolley salaries and fringe is $23,254. So that leaves a remainder of $31,000 that's not appropriated. So I just have it under Welcome Center as miscellaneous, $31,000.
Okay, so one of the things, if this role was a possibility, is
You're talking about a new position?
Yes.
Okay, we cannot fund a new position as a marketing or tourism director. Steve's idea behind that was to get the Space to Create Center up and running so that we can charge for conferences, and that's the way we're gonna make the money to cover a position for that. But we're years out from that. I mean, we're barely getting it furnished. We're getting the stage in there. We finally have Veronica in there to start coordinating the events. The city has taken over the fees that we are earning for those events because before Creative District was taking in the fees. Now the city has assumed those fees, and we're gonna start adding them up and seeing what they add up to. We don't know. We've increased those fees, or we're planning on increasing those fees because they're pretty cheap right now to rent Space to Create. We're going to increase those fees and track them, and as they come along, we subtract out what it costs to run Space to Create because we have to pay for the utilities, the property casualty, and that type of thing. And then what's left over from there, we would consider a tourism manager. However, we have to wait because we are not attracting those big conferences yet.
What other things are we doing to attract the, and probably you'll go, oh, we talked about that already, man. Attract those conferences besides being on Destination Colorado? Is there anybody calling, or is there?
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we're really busy all the way through the spring, actually the fall of next year already. We're booking events. Like Krista said, I think because we're all working together towards booking events there, so Creative District as well as Main Street and then the city as well. And so she got the Farmers Market Conference. We're having like this retro motorcycle conference. There's just like a lot. There's a lot going on all of the time.
Oh,
and so yeah, it's busy over there, and I just foresee it getting busier. Graduations, weddings, things like that as well.
Sure. So part of the reason I'm asking this is part of what we're paying our marketing budget for DIQ to do could be brought in-house, less expensive, and overall it would be a net decrease in costs. So I know that kind of crosses over two different budget line items.
Right, we want to try to keep the buckets segregated. So marketing is marketing. I mean, unless we amend the ordinance and take that money and put it somewhere else, that's the only way that we shouldn't be spending those type of funds. Oh, well, I don't know. I can't remember how the ordinance reads. Let's see. See, it's not staffing for under the marketing budget. The staffing is under personnel. Again, we would have to amend the ordinance to be able to expend those. If we want marketing to be a tourism director, then we would have to amend the ordinance.
How much are you looking to kind of have in reserve through each of these lines. Is there like a target? So I'm thinking about that 31,000. Someone at a part-time role, 20 hours a week, 25 grand a year. You know, that's definitely a more junior person than a director, but could be a stepping stone for
It
that
could be.
role.
Mhm.
But that only leaves 6 grand under that line.
Well, if we'd have to consider fringe, so, I mean, 25,000, it's hard to attract part-time unless they don't need the health insurance. That's what's the most expensive. Health insurance for every family is about $23,000. So, yeah, you can hire somebody $18 an hour, however, you're gonna pay that $23,000 if they have a family. That, of course, that's full-time. It's hard to attract part-time because they do want the benefits. So we would have to consider that, but possibly there's somebody out there that would wanna do it
Well,
part-time.
It was something that we recommended last year for a part-time position, and they basically said wait and see if the ordinance gets passed and an increase, and that happened. So that's why I kind of re-engaged the conversation. from
Right,
last year.
so we did have a part-time position considered, and now that Veronica's on board, we believe that we have JC Pico in there, that he's helping with the events and setting up, taking down, doing the lighting, whatever is necessary for that, scheduling the events. And we also have Veronica and we have Marty. So we have 3 people doing what I think needs to be done. If we need to assign that to, I just don't know that we need a 4th person yet.
Okay.
But, I mean, we can look at it.
Does the city have a position, director of marketing, director of tourism, excuse me?
No. And that's the role I thought we were talking about. No, we're not ready for that yet because we don't have the conference center up and running. I mean, we're getting it going, we just don't know what the income's gonna be like for that yet.
So Marty is just over the visitor center now?
Actually, she's part of Visitor Center and she's the event coordinator.
Oh,
So she coordinates all the events that are in the city, Santa Fe Trail Days, the car shows, everything, every event that people want to put on. In the summer, they have to go through Marty. She vets the application, she organizes if staff has to be on site to close the streets, if we need security, so that's typically what she's working on now.
Okay.
And assisting with Space to Create Rentals, correct?
yeah.
She'll be there on the weekends to open up the building, let the event run through, make sure no alcohol's brought in, close down the event, and she's going to be alternating that with Veronica and JC.
Now, so, thank you for that. Since you are here, I want to back up to the budget revision. You guys had some questions for Ms. Cheryl about the additions that we made last time, or that I have proposed.
So at our first budget hearing, we proposed to council to move Jared and, well, actually the outdoor rec salary and department into tourism, as well as the horticulture program. That's the flower program, and that totaled $145,000. When Steve took this ordinance apart and put it back together, it was his plan to put parks and rec and outdoor rec in tourism. But we're just not earning that much money. We don't have enough to sustain. It would probably be 4 employees, and we barely have enough to cover one.
Any questions about that, guys?
What was it spent on last year?
The outdoor rec we used for, the recreation facilities we used for Santa Fe Trail Days. The trail, something with a trail, I can't remember. What else?
Is that the Fisher's Peak?
Oh, the fishing video that Monument Lake did.
Oh, yeah.
We moved that out of local event funding because that's an outdoor activity. There's RAD, anything we bought for the RAD Fest. I would have to look. I mean,
The trail project is likely boulevard improvements. They're doing a ton of stuff down there last year.
well, part of that's coming out of our capital fund, but there were some I can't remember what they are. I can print it, or I can send it to you if you want, and you can just.
That would be helpful, because we get asked from community members about that. We have
Yep.
Is a Parks and Rec department been established?
And the general fund it came too short. Our sales tax is declining. No, we're actually on hiring freezes right now, so there's no way that we could create, because that would require hiring a Parks and Rec director, and we just don't have that in the budget.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's the same reason you moved the salaries
That's
into there, yeah. I totally understand what you guys are dealing with, kind of backs against the wall there. I know that we're gonna get questions and frustration out of that, just because the tax increase was very much sold on the back of the outdoor rec and quality of life improvements and things, and those salaries are pretty much gonna eat up that whole 30%. So we've got 47,000 left, trails and recreational development in this draft budget. It's just not gonna go very far. So I guess hopefully we see some improvements in next year's budget, and we have some more money to work with in that regard. Yeah, that was the main thing I wanted to know about, was just how that salary money ended up in there and the rationale behind it, because I'm keen on getting some larger projects done under that.
So we also have the capital fund for trail development. That's something that we would significant trail development should be coming out of capital. The trail and rec department here should be for the organizing it and trying to find trails to build and figuring out what land to buy. This shouldn't be the capital expenditure. Capital expenditure comes on the capital fund side, which we get a 1% tax, and we build into the budget for Parks and Rec development. This isn't going to be a capital expenditure. We should never use tourism money for capital, because those type of expenses have to be fixed assets, they have to be put on the book, they have to be depreciated. We don't do that type of thing with tourism fund.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. But maintenance and improvements, potentially, you know, things like signage or...
Right, that would be here, correct.
I think that was the main thing, was all under that line.
Questions? All right. Thank you
Okay.
for coming in.
I'll print the expense detail and I'll email it to you, and then you can disperse it.
Oh, sorry, before you leave, I think there's one more thing that we discussed that would pertain to you. It would just be having like a monthly update off of just a sheet that we could work off of, and we're getting a lot of like pushback and frustration and requests from the community about transparency. So we wanted to publish them like on the website, so they're available everywhere, so no one can say we're being transparent, things are being hidden. Could
Yeah,
we do
also
that?
just things like, oh gosh, what did you just mention? That it had gotten swapped into tourism. I don't remember.
Fireworks. I moved fireworks into tourism.
But anything like that, just so we can also keep track as the fund is changing, in case we're getting requests or anything like that.
You know, requests should come to me. So, I mean, that bottom line, I'm the one who handles the finances. I have the reports. I'm happy to give them to you, but I just don't know that you're going to disseminate the information the way that it's put in the books.
Yeah.
So,
Because if I come in with a report and you go, well, where was this? I don't know, I didn't answer that.
And unless you ask the question to me first before you answer.
Yeah.
So I don't want to give out incorrect information, and then it gets out on social media, and then the city looks like the bad guy. So we just,
Just
we
provide
are
a couple of bullet points too on things that might have changed.
Yeah.
That would be super helpful. We don't want to try to pull you in. I know you're extremely busy to every meeting to ask questions, but just an easier way for all of us to communicate the information that it's important to us and people are asking for. Just so if it's just there on the website or sent to us monthly, we have it and we won't need to pull you in as much.
Right.
Just with a couple of bullet points on what's going on, I think that would be super helpful.
Well, it helps us keep from getting grabbed at it and keep us doing something that gets y'all grabbed at. So
Right.
trying to, that, again, communication.
Yeah, social media is the biggest issue that the city has.
Yeah. We do.
Yeah. So the way the lodging tax board should be working with the city instead of against. So we just don't want those negative comments out there in social media because we have to be working together.
Yes.
Any questions?
I don't have anyone. Anyone?
Okay.
I think that's it. Thank you.
Alrighty, thank you.
Alright, so I did give everyone a copy of this final version. She needs this ASAP. So
We're done. This is
Oh.
going to the budget because I have to put it, the final reading is Tuesday, so I'm moving forward with this.
Okay.
Unless you have any changes by the end of the meeting
actually
today.
needed like the official documentation.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, this is getting adopted Tuesday night. Okay, but if you have any changes, you have till the end of the day to tell me because I'm keying stuff in right now.
I don't think anybody has any changes.
Not at this time.
No.
Okay.
No, I was just gonna call a vote, but if we don't need to do that, I won't.
I mean, for your record, you should approve
Okay.
it and adopt it and whatever, but if you're good with this, I'm keying it into the budget because it goes to council Tuesday night. Okay?
Thank you,
Thank you.
Cheryl. Appreciate it. All right. I'm not gonna go over this whole thing again. I just need a motion to adopt it.
I don't know, see, we have any choice, but I make a motion to.
Second.
All in favor of adopting the budget, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, it's adopted. Okay. Next year we will get a much earlier start on that, now that I know what is expected. That way we will have plenty of time to discuss and suss it out.
Hey V, what's the latest on city manager?
Last I heard, which was last week, they had about 7 applicants and moving forward with that, with the interviews, I believe in January, February.
Because everything could change, you know, when we get there, so.
Oh yeah, there's gonna be another person. All right, so, Lindsay's not here,
Did she receive an invite?
Yeah, and
Yeah,
she said thank
yeah.
you for the link.
Alright.
yeah,
Odd.
and I haven't heard from her either.
Maybe she got snowed in. Oh wait, she works from home, never mind.
Next is, the decision matrix test run, which,
Yes, I just sent out PowerPoint slides you and I have to share. So the whole purpose of this is having defensible decisions on funding. So if somebody comes and says, why did you give them this amount, you only gave me this amount, because we've already heard that before. It's an independent assessment of each one of them and it weights it. So I'll go through the weighting. Also, this weighs into transparency because we can, I made this a Google Doc. And we can do a tab for each one of the events that people come to us to request. So then they can look on the shared drive or wherever it is, on the website, whatever, so they can look at how they scored. So again, it is a Google document that I will send to y'all anytime that we have something to review. And I have 6 questions here, so you let me know if you like them. Does this event focus on a draw to Trinidad, so things that we've talked about before that attract people and that we're all in agreement on? Is this event to be held during a season that needs more events? We've heard a few times that we need to have more wintertime events. How well put together is the presentation or request? We all know what that is. We've seen some that are really, really good and some that are eh. Are there favorable references for the organizers? Have they done other events? Have they been complete? Have they turned in their P&L at the end so we can see how well they spent the money? And then uniqueness of the event or location where it's going to be. Is that unique? And then your own personal enthusiasm for the event. So that can be, I really don't like this person. They're not good to work with. I've heard that they don't have successful events, or I'm not really excited about having I don't know, I'm not particularly excited about the 420 Fest. So then you can have your own personal opinion weight in there. But each one are weighted. So if it's a Trinidad focus, it's weighted ×6. A season that needs events, it's weighted ×5. Quality of request weighted ×4. favorable references times 3, uniqueness times 2, and your personal enthusiasm. So you still get your own say in it, but it's weighted very low. And you see how I put this in a spreadsheet here, so each one of those is weighted. So then, a perfect score for 5 people scoring this is 525. No doubt that they would get the full budget of what we're assigning to new events, okay? And the worst score is 100. So I kind of put a scale here. 450 to 500 would be 5,000. 350 to 449 would be 2,500. 250 to 349 would be 1,000, and under 249 they get 0. And then I have a little arrow. Each event can be added to the spreadsheet, so that can be on a website and people can look and see how they scored for each one of them. And then the difference with the second time event is we would have attendance tracking, so that would be the alpha maps, and that would be weighted at ×4. And that's everything I have on there. I'm still kind of learning how to get this in, how to get these Google Forms into the spreadsheet. I'd like it kind of formatted a little bit differently, but you get the idea. Any questions? You like how it's weighted? You like the priorities?
Yeah, I like this. Thank you for putting this together. I think this is accountable. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
For these numbers at the top, is this a maximum that we could give them? Or is that just a...
That's maximum beta on the weighted, and if you score them 1 through 5, so that's multiplied times 6, or multiplied times 5. So that's what everybody's saying this is excellent, would be 525.
Okay. I guess just the question is, once that number comes in, is that just what we give them, or do we then discuss and say we could give up to 5,000 or up to
Yes.
2,500?
Up to 5,000,
Okay, gotcha.
based on
So
if
there's just
they're,
a little discretion if
yeah, a
if
little
things
bit
comes out
discretion.
that...
So if they're
Okay.
450 to 500, we go, well, I don't think they need a full 5,000 because of blah, blah, blah. We can
Right.
make notations in there.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I like it. I'm okay.
Like, for instance, if they want to do their own marketing, but we say, oh, no, DIQ can put that on the carousel, and that'll help them a lot, then we reduce it. But we have to make a notation of that because it's about traffic.
Yes, great. Well, I totally misunderstood what this was. I thought it was going to be practicing. So I printed out a couple of
Oh, thank you.
the funding request forms.
Oh, gotcha.
But if we have them, I know it's homework, but if you guys want to, if you want to reshare, maybe a practice one that we
Sure.
could go
Is that a
through.
new event? Is that one? we've
No,
already
these
looked
are
at?
2
Okay.
that we did last year that were in my emails.
Sure.
One's the rodeo, and the other one is the Monument Lake Resort thingy that Brett McGraw.
Both of them were second-time events, right? The rodeo,
I'm
she
not
was
sure.
requested for the first time last year. Okay,
Yeah.
so
So
we're
we're
gonna
gonna go
pretend
right there.
one's first time and one's second time. Okay,
Okay,
yeah, I can do that.
yeah. So just put one on the tab for first time, one second. Great. Yeah, send that, and then you guys should all have them in your emails too if you don't want to hold on to all that paper recycled. But I thought we were going to practice. That's okay. Yeah, I like it. 5,000 is a good number, and that's because we are sitting at like 63
Yeah, I guess,
in there. We can do 6 events at 10 or 12 events at 5. So
yeah, what do we want to,
or more if we go less.
do we want to decide that at this event, or do we want to wait till next event? How many events do we need, and how much do we want to divide it up? First time events, 7,500 or 10,000 or what?
I'm pretty sure we had this discussion,
Oh, we did?
didn't we? That's how we got it to 5,000.
Right.
Did we say 5 and 10?
I think
That's what we were last
previously, you might know this more, on the last board, 10 was given to new
Yeah.
events, I think.
Right.
Yes.
I don't know if that applies anymore necessarily.
But we had a whole lot more money
Yeah.
to give. And the 10 was there when I got there, but I assume it was just, a good round number. There wasn't a whole
I
lot
think
of
this is
thought.
great, and we should absolutely use it with just some discretion in there. I mean, there's some reoccurring events that need more support and bring more to the community than a new event necessarily, so I don't know if I personally want a specific rule in that a new gets more, because but just something to think about. But I think using a basis, and then we use some of our own discretion on what we think just
Right.
gives the most back to the community, whether it's new or
long as that
you know,
discretion is
reoccurring. But yeah, but we've got a way that's well, there's some unbiased in there, but like
Right.
a way that we're it's all math that's adding up, and that's making most of the decision.
Yeah.
And then
Keeps it from
we can
being
provide it
political.
to them if needed, you know, or if we want to.
Well, we'll try it out on the next one and I'll use
Yes.
that and we can discuss.
I'm sure they'll start rolling.
Curiosity, what is the event in the picture? The
Oh,
crown?
that was a picture, Alzheimer's Association flew me to New Orleans and they did a Mardi Gras at the convention. It's in the convention center, so that's a picture I took from.
Oh,
So it looks like Mardi Gras.
okay.
Let's see, what's that? Christmas week meeting. It's technically due on the 26th. I thought we would have to get together to approve the minutes so that she could do the budget, but that's not necessary. There's no time limit now. So do we want to meet that week?
I'm not available.
Is it necessary? I mean, is there
Do you have
something we have to
anything
do?
pressing that you could think of?
Could we
No,
have
I'm not
eggnog?
even gonna be here.
Oh,
Then I
Just
say
take
we
a
skip it
vacation
again.
and start in January.
Skip it out.
okay.
Since we don't have anything pressing. So our next meeting won't be until January. I'll see about reaching out to Lindsay to let her know. She's not here. I guess she's not gonna make it today. That's okay. Meeting time discussion. Or do we need to vote on that Christmas week meeting, missing it?
No,
No. Thank you. 'Cause I
I don't know.
We're gonna
Wow, a whole month between
Are-
meetings.
Are we wanting to change the meeting time? Somebody?
Well, I was thinking about it because Jason says he has to leave early, and I have a little more flexibility on Thursdays and Fridays now. So there are 3 of us that open the store. The first person, I potentially need to give one of them lunch before I leave. So I could do that potentially at 10. I'm sure they would prefer 11. So if we could meet at a little earlier, 12, 1,
I
something
think
like
one
that.
would alleviate all the problems. I'm opening at 4. So it's just as long as I can be there by 3:30, and I think that'll fix most of it.
Yeah.
Pretty
So
rare for
1
us
to
go over
3?
2 hours.
What's that?
Pretty rare for us to go over 2 hours.
Yeah, we just
Yeah.
had, I don't know, is there still a retreat today? Is that happening now, or is that?
That was last week.
That was last week? Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah, like if there's something like that, that might be challenging, but if I knew about it in advance, I might be able to schedule. But if we just bump it to 1, I think that's gonna fix 90% of the problems, if that works for everyone else.
Can we
Excuse
find
me,
out if that's available? Yes. Instead of coming at 2, we come at 1,
Yeah.
same days.
Yeah.
Let me check my schedule.
Yeah. I think you're the only one that doesn't have to worry about that.
Oh, I worry about it, but
Yeah.
just because I
You try.
feel bad for you guys.
Or if we have just a link that I can join as well, like I should be able to come in person most of the
Unfortunately,
time now. We're not doing that anymore.
That's it. They said we can't do that anymore.
Really?
Yeah, all boards and council have to meet in person.
Really? Okay.
Yep.
Sure. We're going into 2025, I guess. And I'm not gonna say
Yeah,
what I was about to
Well,
say.
all of the remote
Yes.
stuff started with COVID.
Yeah.
Because the old board, the old tourism board, always met. They never went online to meet. You had to be there.
I think that goes against like a charter or a law that you
Yeah.
don't have a dial-in way available.
Pretty
Actually,
curious what the rationale is there, because
I don't
I've
think
been-
I don't think that's valid. I might
Yeah.
push back on that.
I've
I
been-
don't think that's correct.
Mike is not here today to answer, or I guess that's who we would talk to about that.
There needs to
He's
be
out
a,
of town. I
a
did
dial-in
ask him to
option,
come in.
and I think that's for all city boards. That's like a legality
Also, there are meetings
for
that,
accessibility and things
yeah,
like
like
that.
I've been able to attend that, otherwise I would not.
Well,
Yeah, absolutely.
part of the thinking on that is the requirement to be at the meeting and circumventing that by just doing it remotely. I'm not it's not my idea, but this is what part of their thinking is, you can't make the requirement that you have to be at the meetings if they can also count if you do it remotely.
That's almost the same thing.
Also, are you allowed to miss like 40% of them or something?
I don't know what the,
Before they give you
I'd
the
have to look.
I don't know.
I mean, if that's going to next year, that'll be a massive problem for me, and I'll be pushing back on that because that's just not correct. I know.
At least ask the question, I mean,
It's not legal. I know that as a fact. So
I don't know the federal.
I'll push back on that for
The
us.
federal government is pushing to get people back to work and things.
That's fine, but I know like me and Joe specifically are taking it from work.
Yeah, and we obviously, like, the preference is to be in person. It's much easier to have discussions.
I don't have an issue.
I'd
I
rather be
just-
here as well, but that's going to cause me to miss meetings. So
Yeah.
Alright,
sorry,
so
but my
changing-
business comes first.
Changing to 1 p.m., assuming that we can.
Yes.
Next
I don't know why it would be a problem. I'm gonna double check, but
Double check.
every time I come early to set this up, nobody's in here.
Cool.
Great.
Are you available at 1?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Thank you.
Remotely or in person?
Always in person for me.
All right, so the next date that we'll have,
It's the 9th.
gosh, that is about a month. So let me just,
Let's just go ahead and say it's gonna be at 1. If it's not, then I'll reach out, but it should be fine.
Cool.
thank you.
And now that we're here and the internet connection is better, all those remote, attendance seem to
Yeah.
work. It's just, whatever they're doing.
I
Can't
mean,
argue
this
with
was
City Hall.
literally built for remote. That's what all these TVs are in here for. So I think someone made a preference call there.
Maybe.
I mean, if you read on the bottom of this, individual with disabilities may request advanced contact. I mean, that's part of that. And
Well, see, I think they quit doing that because they had somebody hack in.
well, this is an accessibility thing that you have to have an option where they can dial in or go over Zoom for legality. So they're putting it on there, but not delivering it. So.
Not related, but I just pulled up DIQ updates deck, and if you want, I can rattle some stuff off. Since
Sure.
we don't have Lindsay, if anyone's curious.
Yeah, go for it.
So her summary, dip across the board in paid user traffic, so paid ads from, say, Google or social, down 13% month over month. Increase in organic traffic over the Thanksgiving weekend, so likely travelers coming through, searching. Increase in searches for the Ludlow Massacre. It was our most visited webpage in
Wow.
November, which is kind of interesting. I don't think that's the anniversary date or anything, so I'd be curious if
I don't know if it had its own page before the refresh.
So maybe it's just picking up some steam SEO
Yeah,
wise.
if it's like 3,000% increase, it's
Right.
because it was
Have y'all been there?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's a great bike route coming up through Ludlow there. Organic user search traffic is only down 1% month over month, so that's pretty nice for the slow season. Not seeing huge drops there. People still visiting the site. Google, they're going to test some new headlines. The Google ads. Overall click-through rate is still over 10%, which is great. Honestly, even like 8% is really strong. I feel like the industry average is 4 to 5, so we're still performing well there.
Do we know if these are just on branded terms?
It just
Guess there's not
says
exactly
click-through rate.
Yeah.
We'd have to dig into the other reports. There is a Google Ads report link in there, which I can pop open. While that's loading, dip in the state park related keywords. Not that surprising, it's wintertime, less
Yeah.
people going outside. She already said that. On Meta, they are launching some new creative, so some new stuff in the ads. They have some of Jeff Montoya's footage,
Oh.
but not all of it is in yet. Nova So Cold, we all know that. there's a sample 2025 marketing budget in here that we probably should all take a look at, maybe ahead of next meeting. So you can find, just a reminder, there is a link to the updates deck in the notebook. So on the left-hand side, it's its own section, and there's just a link to the DIQ deck. So
She did say, because I met with her yesterday, and she did say that she's well aware that this is not the budget, but she was
Sure.
going off of what
Okay,
you all had
cool.
talked about.
So yeah, that might be a good thing for everyone to review ahead of time, and or print off to bring and discuss, because we were going to chat about it with her. So there's a proposed budget in here, and a link to it. Upcoming call with Elizabeth regarding the marketing grant, tourism management grant. There's a holiday events landing page that looks like has been created. So that's cool. That's what it looks like.
Oh, nice. I saw a little video the other day about holidays in Trinidad that was on.
Yeah, that's the person we're paying that does local social stuff.
Okay.
The reels.
Yeah. Also, you guys all probably saw, but relatedly, on my request, they are sending out a review sheet on social. You need to be like 2 weeks ahead for the approval. Encourage everybody to dig in and review that. I did catch a couple minor things that actually kind of tie into our discussion on a marketing person, actually. Specifically, there was a holiday post, had some really crummy low resolution photos that I'm sure came out of our library for like holiday lights, you know? And so I just remarked like, we should try and change these. I think I'm actually gonna try and take some photos this week on my way home just to send over. So yeah, just check that out now and again, review it for accuracy. It doesn't take too long. There's only like 10-15 posts queued up at any given time. So just take a peek. If there's obvious things that are wrong, let them know. The other thing I caught when I reviewed was they were going to post a promotion for the parade of lights, but it had already happened. So I said, hey, you should rework this post because it's not upcoming anymore. So it's just not a relevant caption. So yeah, that will be helpful if we get some more eyeballs on there. Because I know I also run out of time now and again. So. To-do list here, they are going to get us listed on the OEdit Office of Film and Television website as a place to come and film. There are some website examples in the deck to review as well, various other smallish towns, some big ones as well. See some notes here from Veronica. Websites.
Yes, I
Did
reviewed
that
those
all?
this morning, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, overall, I really like the aesthetic and the user friendliness of two of them. I believe it was Trout.
I see Troutdale.
Okay, I was
and
gonna say
Santa Fe.
Troutville, Trout something, and Santa Fe. And then there was one that I loved, that they had a whole little section about what the locals are saying. And so it was kind of like the Hands of Trinidad exhibit, you know, if you've seen that, like locals pictures. And so, you know, different demographics, and then you could click on their picture and not only learn about them, but their favorite places in town. So I thought that was really cool.
That is kind of cool. And kind of circling back to our, you know, branding, theming thing we were talking about last week, that is something that kind of links back to that authenticity thing I was talking about, where Trinidad right now is a locals town, and you hear that sentiment from visitors too. Like I've seen that on the web, people posting random things where they're like, yeah, came through town, it really feels like a place for locals, you know, and people kind of just going and living their life and doing their thing. And I think that can often be nice as a traveler, so you don't just feel like it's this, you know, you're getting pandered to when it's like a fake place. Instead it feels like somewhere that people actually live. So yeah, I like that as well, like having a locals highlight. Cool. So yeah, I encourage everybody jump into the deck, check out these example websites as we're looking ahead to the website redesign. Check out that link to the budget as well. And then hopefully we can catch Lindsay at that next meeting and talk about some of it.
Was that grant we got, is that matching or is that just?
I think it's just 40K grant. I don't believe any of our funds are going to it.
I don't know, I thought she said we had to match some.
Oh, well,
That's
maybe.
where the money from, I think it was 20, 2 to 1, or like we had to put it 20, they gave us 40. Or maybe they gave us 20 and that's how we get to 40. It was some money we had put aside for something that we said, no, we're gonna use it for this. And I cannot remember what the line item was, but this was
It's a tourism
earlier in the
marketing
year.
grant. Right? Tourism marketing grant.
Yes.
Yes, that matching money came from something else.
Yeah, it looks like 50,000 to 20,000, 2 to 1 funding match.
Yeah. I can't remember what line item we canceled to do that.
So yeah, the 40,000 grants, they'll bring 20, we're bringing 20. Hopefully we get a really killer site out of this. It's a pretty healthy budget for
It is. We get some more assets in that as well, content creation.
Yes.
Cool.
Thank you. I did get the email from Cheryl. I forwarded it to you, Veronica. If you can send it to the group, I can't.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mhm. I don't know what email you're talking about, but I will do it.
It's in there. It's in there. You'll see it.
Okay.
It's a detailed budget, or
Gotcha.
detailed money that
Okay.
she printed, sent to us. I did take a peek at it. It is kind of coded. So if you have questions, I'll reach out to Cheryl if you'd like, or you guys can send her an email and ask what the codes mean, maybe. When we got together to start the budget, she did kind of go over the stuff with me, but I don't remember what everything is. But we can find out. Let's see, did that. Miscellaneous, anybody have anything that they want to share?
Our first meeting in January, I will bring a proposal and for Phillips Broadcasting, local radio, and what I think we could do effectively, and then get some ideas. Since we were successful, thanks to a lot of help besides radio and the citizens group getting our tax doubled, relook at how we use it. There are some things that we can promote. I'm a big believer that you don't make it a grocery shopping list. You take individual items, and we may need to even look at our decision matrix. And if we pass something, it's a certain amount, it's something we can throw in and promote. Because it's really better, it does help with tourism. There is some value when people are coming to town, but it is more helpful to make sure that the locals know what we're doing and that these things are happening. So we can talk about it and see, we've got it, it's already approved in the budget. But I just want to show y'all what I would like to propose, and then we'll discuss it. So, do an interview with Joe every week.
Sure.
Anything else? Nothing? All right. I don't have anything either. The next agenda, that will be a first meeting of the month.
Different meeting.
Okay. I was like, wait, is that her? She didn't answer me. First meeting of the month, so updates from DIQ will be on there. I'll also put the branding. We didn't discuss the renewal of DIQ. That one is already done. Should I put that on the next agenda for them?
Yeah, they can just propose, I guess, what they had proposed, and then we can dial in the exact numbers from there.
Okay, so I'll put all of that back on there.
Put the radio thing on there.
Radio's on there. Review goals and update documents is going back on. Website, city website edition. So would we like to ask Victoria to join us for that? To ask her about.
Victoria.
Yeah, Victoria.
Yes, the real Victoria.
Yeah, not you.
Bonafide.
To ask her about adding a page to the website or to discuss it with her.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, there is Victoria?
There is a Victoria.
Victoria's
She
the
does
comms.
the media. Or
It's not a
communication.
secret.
It was new.
This is Veronica.
Yes.
Yeah, for the budgets and things on there. Is that the page?
Page for.
Oh yeah, for transparency.
Our
Yeah,
little-
So I'm so sorry. Would you like for me to invite her?
I think the general yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I'll put her city website edition on there so we can talk to her about what we'd like.
Did somebody tell Krista that she did get 10,000?
No, because it wasn't officially approved yet, so I will
Okay.
after this.
That's great.
So you're gonna tell her?
Yeah.
I think that's all I have so far. Did I miss anything? That's the updates, the discussion of branding, the renewal. We can ask them to go over their spiel. Review goals and updates documents. Speak to Victoria about the city website edition. The radio proposal from Chris. Anything else?
Do we want to do the decision matrix since between now and then I'll send that out and people can, so it'll be a test run.
Yeah.
See what the scores are. See if I can get the formatting correct.
Anything else? No? Okay, if you think of anything, shoot me an email or let me know or let Veronica know.
Now you're being real careful every
I-
time you say her name.
Well, I do okay, but we've been talking about both of them, so now they're both in there. All right. I guess that's
Motion.
it. I heard a motion to adjourn.
Second.
A second. All in favor of adjournment?
I
Aye. All right.